we just do it?
Yeah. How we starting?
Do you want to do the theme song?
Ladies
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Froe Show. My name is Frank Beck, and I'm joined as always by my beautiful co-host, Joe Murray.
Hey Frank.
I'm actually you know what? I'm not gonna put the theme song over that.
No?
That's the intro.
That's it?
No.
Oh,
I think
love
I
it.
quite
Okay.
like that actually.
Sweet.
Welcome to episode 74.
Yes, 74.
What did he say?
Well, that's what I named my session, so let's hope it's 74.
That's what I named my session as well. So I
Yeah,
think
cool.
you're right. I think it is 74. What's up?
Not much, man. Been doing
Welcome to the lockdown
a lot
episode.
of nothing. Yeah.
Where Brizzy's back in lockdown. Go crazy.
This is the best one yet, too.
Yeah, this is an extra double spicy one.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one we had was pretty bad. Granted, that was like 3 months.
Yeah, but this is the worst restrictions we've ever had.
Yeah,
The
because we could
harshest
still have like
restrictions.
one visitor and stuff in the last lockdown and things like that.
Yeah.
This one is literally like, do not leave your home.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
You can't go exercise outside of
No,
10Ks,
what
but
have-
anyway.
What have you been doing?
Well, I've been very lucky. I've been working quite a lot, which has been nice. So it's felt semi-normal. But the last 2 days I've had off, and so I've done a lot of sitting around.
Just vibing, doing
Yeah.
nothing.
But obviously
Nice.
gaming. I pulled up RDR2 again yesterday.
Which, for the uninitiated, means
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2.
there we go.
Thank you for that.
That's all good. Anytime.
Yeah, that was lots of fun. I actually spent more time just like fishing and doing chores than actually playing the game.
To be fair, that is how you play Red Dead Redemption 2. That's the best way to do it, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
So it was great. But yeah, not a
Nice.
lot. Not a lot.
just existing.
Pretty
Not a lot you can
much.
do. I have been doing a similar thing. I've been
Yeah.
replaying Twilight Princess, the Zelda game. So just been working my way through. Just got the Master Sword, so crushing it.
Wait,
obviously.
did you finish? What was the other one you were doing?
Skyward Sword, yeah,
That's
I
it.
finished that.
Oh, jeez.
I finished that like last week somewhere.
Oh, you're crazy.
Yeah, I really like Zelda. I like it a lot. Been playing that. Been watching Olympics. when
Oh,
I
yes.
can. Olympic climbing. I'll talk a little bit about that
I was
later.
gonna say the climbing's
there's-
been on.
There's some fun stuff happening there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll have a chat
Oh.
about that later.
I'm excited.
Also, I will quickly just whoop, put that out there. My setup is jank.
Yeah?
Okay? Just
Yeah.
to acknowledge that right off the bat, because all my stuff is in the studio where we filmed the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Problem is that studio is in a shed that is about 200 meters away from my home that doesn't have internet. So I can either film down there, have it look really nice, and have no internet and not be able to talk to Joe and just do my own episode,
Yeah.
or be up here and have a jank setup with 2 lights that haven't been used in 2 years.
Love it. Definitely the latter.
Yeah,
Wouldn't have
it's
it any
great.
other
I'm
way.
Also, actually though, it does mean that I get to use my new toy.
Yes.
My toy. It is. I had to buy it for work, but it is the Rode Wireless Go 2. my hair went
Nice.
over it like this.
Yeah.
It's like the worst product placement ever. Thank goodness we're not being paid for this. I got it. I'm interested to see how it sounds in here because this is not a very good soundproof room, but or sound treated room, I should say.
Yeah.
But
Oh, look at you getting your words right.
But I used it for a work video the other day, and it was really good. And they're super easy to use, and I'm really enjoying them. I'm currently using one with a lav that goes down my shirt, and then I've got my little,
Your little transmitter.
hang on,
You can do it.
my little transmitter down here.
Nice.
With it, that's its little connected light, and then that's its I'm on light. So
Right.
I'm doing real well.
You're connected and
I'm
on.
interested- We are connected and on. I'm trying really hard not to disconnect the lav as I'm jiggling around with
Yeah.
it. But it's been really good. I'm stoked about it. I filmed with it the other day because they have like the They have the built-in mics on the top.
Yeah.
I'm pointing it at the wrong camera.
That one.
There we go. They have the built-in mic. I'm doing like the influencer thing where I
Yeah.
put my hand behind it. They have a built-in camera right here, built-in mic right here. And I didn't have the adapter for my lav, so I had to record using that. This mic, really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I am pleasantly surprised by how good the quality of the built-in microphone is.
Right.
So we just clipped it under the shirt like here,
Yeah.
and it sounded great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I was stoked.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. So I reckon for filming stuff, you can just do whoever's on camera has the lav, and then whoever's off camera just has
Just holding it.
the second transmitter. And then they can just hold it, and then they can ask questions like that.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
That
I'm
is
really
very
enjoying
cool.
it. And I can see I've got like my little. That's the receiver.
Yeah.
It's currently plugged into my laptop.
Just no one touch. Don't touch
being
anything.
being very gentle with it.
Yeah.
But you can see my levels right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it. I keep putting it in the wrong
Yeah.
camera.
Wrong camera.
There we go. Now you can see it. You can see my levels right there, and you can see that I have one microphone connected. Very handy. Very handy. I'm really enjoying it.
Nice.
So I'm going to use it a lot more over the next couple of weeks for work.
Yep.
And then we'll see if I still like it as much.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm surprised you haven't had any troubles in that like shed space.
No, it's great. Well, it's almost like everything just like
Stays in.
nothing
Yeah.
leaves,
Yeah, that's good.
which kind of sucks for internet purposes, but for everything else, pretty good. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, do you have anything you want to start with?
Not really. No.
No.
As I said, I don't really have anything for today. I just had some things to bounce off what you were going to talk about, but you know.
Okay, that's fine. I'll allow it.
Like, well,
yeah.
even with the Rode 2s, I'm surprised at how much better they are, even in that shed space. Because the place that we first used the wireless Go, the first version, was also in that kind of like undercover shed
but
sort of
I think
space.
I think the issue with that was the amount of interference.
Oh yeah,
Because they did say that we were like right next to a military base or something,
yeah, that's right.
or next to like a tower thing. So I assume it was just like scrambling whatever signal it was getting.
Yeah, that was not a good day for audio.
That was not. Do you want to actually? Have we talked about that?
I don't know. I think we didn't because we didn't know if we were allowed to. But we probably can
it's
now.
Far enough. Yeah, it's far enough ago that we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell the story.
Okay. Well, I'll tell the whole story. We were doing a live stream for a puppet show. We were asked to do a live stream for a puppet show.
Yep.
And I was kind of the head of the whole operation.
Big man Joe.
Yeah. Me doing film. That was my first real like, you know, thrown in the deep end with film stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've done B-roll stuff with you, but you know, B-roll's kind of like if it looks good, then yeah. If it doesn't, then oh well. But anyway, so the setup we ended up going with was 2 cameras, with a switcher, and then we wanted for audio there was 2 puppets, so 2 actors, and we were just gonna mic them up with the wireless Goes because we had 2 sets of wireless Goes. And on paper that was fantastic. It was gonna be brilliant. It was gonna work great. We had the live stream working from what they call a YOLO box or something, and with that you can stream straight from the box and you can record on it, and it's got heaps of different capabilities. But I was just using it as a switcher and then was streaming from OBS on the computer. That was the plan. But the show was in Mullaney, which has terrible internet, and we couldn't get an internet connection that was going to be stable enough for the whole 45-minute show.
We couldn't get an internet connection to load Facebook.
Yeah. we were given an internet dongle, which I found, it didn't work for some reason. It didn't connect to the computer or something, or I couldn't get it to work on my laptop. And so then we went to hotspots. The best we got was about 5 minutes of good quality, when there was a phone on the roof of the venue. But then that cut out, so that was good times. So about 10 minutes before the show started, we were like, okay, we've got to ditch the live stream. Live stream's not happening. We just have to record it. So we ended up recording to an SD card on OBS, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was on my laptop, filming through OBS directly onto an SD card with no
backup.
No redundancies.
Nah. So if that didn't work, then we would have had nothing. And this was the last show that they were doing. Anyway, so we got recording working, and then the next problem was audio. We couldn't get the wireless goes to work. Like there'd be so much interference, as you were saying. The actors were cutting in and out. And yeah, it just wasn't happening. So 5 minutes before the show, I thought, okay, we're just going to use mics on cameras. We're just going to mount mics to cameras and use that. But thankfully there was like a mentor there who was there to just kind of be around and help out. And he actually does a lot of live sound stuff for films. He does a lot of boom mic stuff and then a lot of wireless mic stuff. And he had his kit in the car, and it was just like, it was like a duffel bag, but just like a $20,000 duffel bag. Like it had all this crazy gear in it, and he had 4, I think, wireless mic sets, and it was just plug and play with that. And so we recorded the video and the audio separately, and then we just like synced it at the end with a clap sync. And yeah, that was it. Managed to get the recording working, and then in post I just did multicam on... Oh wait, no, did I? No. We recorded the live switches. That's right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much to do in post, which was great.
It was just syncing the audio.
Yeah. So
handy dandy.
We got it to them that night, and then we haven't heard from them since, so hopefully it was fine.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything bad, so I'm going to take that as a win.
Yeah, I'll take that as it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. All went well. So.
Yeah. And they were very gracious with everything, and were very kind.
They were.
You know.
Yeah.
They understood that things happen.
I think they delayed the show 5 or 10 minutes as well for us.
Yes, that we could get our stuff organized.
Yeah. And what I was really happy with is sometimes things like that happens, and then the client is like, oh, they're just bad at their job. Yeah. But they were like, no, this thing happens.
We understand.
Like, we can tell you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because they were like theater people as well. I think they were kind of just like, yeah, look, this happens.
Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry about it too much.
And one of them said that they used to be an acrobat and like did acting as an acrobat or something.
I did not catch that.
Didn't you? Oh, so
No.
like when we were miking her up with the second thing, she was like, oh, I thought these little kits, the wireless goes, wouldn't work very well because I've never seen that before. And the one that our mentor had were like big Velcro straps that they wrapped around like your stomach.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, this is what I'm used to when I used to do acrobat stuff. And she was mic'd up for it. Yeah.
Right.
So
that
was crazy.
That's really cool though.
Yeah. I wish I'd like talked to her more about it, but anyway, it was cool.
That's cool.
Although I did see them, the whole festival had an award ceremony where they gave out like kind of like scholarship things and grants and stuff. So I did see them there, and they weren't like they were smiling and they were happy to see me. So
okay, good.
Yeah,
so they were happy.
So they must have been happy. Yeah.
Good. That's what you like. That's what you like to hear.
Yes.
No, that was a fun job playing
it was.
Those puppets. They were so strange. They were so
I love
was
it.
fun. It was really fun, but there were some strange puppets.
Puppets. Was it the one? Was it the last show where one of the puppets' leg kept falling off? Yeah. It hadn't happened the entire festival. 2 weeks or 3 weeks worth of shows hadn't happened.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
great. That was it was really fun.
It
a
was,
really good time.
yeah.
Speaking of live streaming, so I've been watching the Olympic climbing,
Yes.
and obviously that's all live, which is really cool. It's really cool to see stuff happen live and be like messaging people, especially because this is the first time. Like I haven't mentioned this, but it's the first year that climbing is in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which is just awesome.
Yeah.
And everyone is super, super stoked about it, obviously. Because it's a sport that, we all love a lot and are very invested in. And so it's really cool to see it getting this like worldwide recognition from the Olympic Committee and introducing so many new people to climbing, which comes with its own downsides, people going to new places and it being really busy all of a sudden, and infrastructure will need to be a lot better in the next year or two as we get all these new climbers coming into the sport. But it's still really, really cool. But the first one was, as of the day this has come out, all the Olympic climbing will be finished. We're recording on Thursday. Tonight is the men's finals. Friday night is the women's finals. So I've watched both of the qualifiers now. I've watched the men's qualifiers and the women's qualifiers. The men's qualifiers was first, and it was a great comp. It was really good.
Yeah.
It would have been even better if I could see any of it.
Oh no.
The camera work was horrendous.
Oh really?
It was probably the worst live camera operating I have ever seen.
Wow.
And it has made me feel so much better about my ability as a camera operator. Because if you can be that consistently poor at your job and be an Olympic camera operator and an Olympic, what's the word? Not director, but the camera switcher. Dude,
Was it that bad, really?
It was really bad. Okay, so the way that they do bouldering is they have 4 different problems. And so for a qualifier, they have 20 people that they need to get through to bring it down to 8. And so for a qualifier, what they do is they'll bring one person out to try boulder 1, and then they'll bring another person out to try boulder 1, and then the first person who's had 5 minutes rest now will come out and do boulder 2 as a new person tries boulder 1. And then it'll keep going like that until there's one person on every single boulder for 2 hours, 3 hours until the comp's finished.
Yeah.
That's the most efficient way that you can get through that many people as fast as possible.
Yep.
Which is normally fine. So what a lot of comps will do is either they'll do a split screen, so they'll have 4 up at once so that you can watch everyone climb, or they'll do a lot of really wide shots, and if they do a close-up, it'll be right when there's something super, super interesting happening, or it'll be a mid shot of just 2 climbs or just 2 climbs. So rather than having it be this super close up shot, you're getting all of the action. The men's, there were several times where there was this one climb, which was the second one, that no one could do. No one had finished it. And the one time that someone not only finished it, but did it on the first attempt, we were watching another person on the screen of a close-up of them chalking up their hands and then staring at their boulder as you could hear the crowd going wild in the background.
What the heck?
And then you just see him jump off the top at the end.
Oh, that's so dumb.
And then probably 5 minutes later, they showed a replay of the last move or the last move or two of him doing the top section. And it's that's not okay.
That's bad.
You can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was exceptionally bad.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other things like that. It's just, they clearly were not people that have seen a lot of climbing before. so they were just focusing on things that weren't important. And so a lot of the coverage of the first one as well was of the first boulder. Like, we literally only saw boulder 2 probably 3 or 4 times throughout the 3 hours. And it's like, you get bored at a certain point. You're like, okay, I've seen this climb enough now. I only really want to see it now if someone is doing it exceptionally well, or if it's an athlete that people generally care about. So like if, you know, Adam Ondra or Magos or whoever comes out to try it, then you go over there. But it seriously was that bad.
That's wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. And the commentating was just as bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like so many people switched off the commentating, like just turn their TVs to mute. It was that bad. It was just like, just no understanding of the sport at all.
Why wouldn't they? Sorry, why wouldn't they get people from like, you know, the world comps to go do it?
You know what? That's such a good idea. I really think you should bring that to the Olympic Committee and tell them that.
You reckon I should?
Because
I'll call them right now.
one of
I've got Billy on my phone number here, you know.
Billy Olympics.
Billy.
Mr. Olympic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, one of them is like a retired rugby player, and the other guy is just some guy.
What?
And so the whole comp, it was like, they just were not, they had no idea what they were talking about. They were just like, wow, he's really strong. Like there's a whole list of quotes. I'll read out a couple of the quotes.
Yeah, do it.
Hold on. Because it really was that bad. And even if you're not a climber, you can really like put together how poor these quotes are. Okay, these are actual quotes, word for word. Most people wouldn't even attempt to get on the wall, let alone climb it. Despite being a veteran, he has a wealth of experience.
What?
The longer the climb goes on, the more tired these athletes get.
Thank you.
These aren't your regular gym back muscles. These are specialized back sinews built exclusively for climbing. This one's my favorite. He's actually from Switzerland, talking about a German climber.
What?
It's a 35-degree wall. Imagine walking that on a treadmill. Yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. Thankfully, the women's climbing last night was much better. The camera work was way better. The commentating was way better. Like the whole climbing community complained, basically.
Yeah, right.
It was like, you guys have to do better.
Yeah.
Especially because it's an exhibition sport this year. Like, this is essentially gauging whether or not people will continue to watch sport climbing in the future and whether it will continue to be an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
So it's super important that it's good.
Yeah.
So it's quite frustrating when you are so passionate about your sport and you see it come and then it's just not well executed.
Well, hopefully the finals tonight will be better.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm staying up for the full thing tonight for the finals. I've been ditching for the qualifiers because the qualifiers speed is at 6, bouldering is at 7, and then lead climbing starts at like 10. So I've not been watching lead climbing for the qualifiers, but I probably will tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because that'll be really interesting with the finals. But like last night for the women's, they literally dropped the camera at one point.
What?
Like they dropped, and it was it was live. Like it was the camera that they had on at that time. They dropped the camera and it's just on the floor for like 3 seconds before they switched away.
That's so bad.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Wow.
But the commentating and the video was a lot better last night. But it was still like some of the comments from the male, because for the women's they had one male and one female, which was much better. But still, like the male commentator kept being like, "There's so much drama. There's so much drama in the women's climbing." It's like, dude,
what?
what are you talking about? Oh no! And there was one thing that actually got me really, really heated.
Oh yeah.
So there's this one guy, right? His name's Colin Duffy. He's a phenomenal climber. He's currently, I think he's second or third. He qualified second or third. So he's very good.
Yeah.
And he just happens to be 17, so he's quite young. And the commentators constantly throughout the whole men's qualifiers were like, man, he's got such a promising career ahead of him. He's going to be such a great athlete, blah, blah, blah. As if he's not already at the Olympics.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's already proven his worth to you. Like, you don't need to constantly be like, he's going to be a great climber one day, you know?
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Anyway, enough complaining. I'm stoked. I'm absolutely stoked that climbing is at the Olympics. It's been really fun to watch. I've been live messaging it with like all my climbing friends. It's been really good. It's
yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, right.
So, I am a happy boy.
Yeah?
As much as I'm complaining.
Okay.
Yeah, as much as I'm complaining.
You should look online tonight. There might be some jobs going up for camera ops at the Olympics.
No, I'll take the commentator job. You clearly don't need any experience for that.
Oh yeah, just be an ex-rugby player.
Yeah, that's me, Frank, the ex-rugby player.
I used to do sport. Can I talk about this?
I played rugby in grade 10. Does that count? Oh
yeah,
man,
right.
no, it's good though. I'm stoked for tonight and I'm stoked for tomorrow night. There's some incredible athletes, but I'm not going to talk about sport. I just wanted to talk about the actual production of it.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to see the skateboarding?
I have. I've watched a little bit of the skateboarding.
Oh yeah. What did you think about the production of that? Like the whole thing.
I also didn't think that was great.
Yeah.
I think the big issue is that with the new sports, I think they just have a general production team for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like they're not specialized. It's not like this person is a skateboarding videographer or whatever. Like I think it's just sport videographers.
Yeah.
And I think for specialized sports like skateboarding and climbing and things like that, there's a lot more nuance to the way that those things need to be filmed to get it across to an audience. And so I think that creates a lot of problems when they haven't consulted people that know what they're doing. Because all you need to do is get one experienced videographer in there that can explain to them what they need to focus on, and then they'll be fine. But they've just kind of gone, oh, we'll just treat it like we do diving, or we'll just do the same as we do for basketball. Like, it's a very different way of filming. So, yeah, I don't know. I liked the skateboarding though. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I also thought.
Yeah.
I also thought the commentators weren't as experienced as they could have been. But yeah, as you're saying,
No.
there's one shot at the skateboarding that I saw. It was the women's skateboarding.
Yeah.
I think it was qualifying. That kind of has stuck in my mind, and it was this one camera up with like the camera on his shoulder, so he wasn't on a tripod, and he was right up next to the bowl, like 50 centimeters away from the bowl, and the skateboarders come up in front of him, and he's sitting there with the camera, right? But the thing was, they didn't use that angle. There was another guy on a tripod behind him filming, and so there's just the cameraman in right next to the bowl with the
Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, and like if that skateboarder had wiped out, then like that man would be dead.
Just donk.
Yeah. Or that camera would be like broken.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was interesting. Was that?
It is really interesting. It'll be. They're obviously getting a lot of feedback from all of this, from athletes and from people that are invested in the sport. So, it'll be better. It will improve. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think skateboarding and climbing have both already been confirmed for 2024 as
Sweet.
as like proper medal events, not just exhibition sports. So
Yeah.
Climbing will be split into disciplines, which will be good. So I think they have 2 or 3 medals now rather than just the one. So it'll be way easier, way nicer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. Very exciting. I'm keen.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along, unless there's anything else you wanna talk about there.
Nah.
All right, cool. So I I've talked a little bit before about playing Zelda recently, and I found something really interesting because I played Skyward Sword, and then I played Twilight Princess, and something blew my mind a little bit because I had all the music in my head, and the music for both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword is phenomenal. Particularly Skyward Sword because it's all performed by the Tokyo, what is it? Not polyphonic. What's the word? Philharmonic. That's it.
right. Yeah.
The Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra. So I'm gonna play a song. There's a song from Ocarina of Time called Zelda's Lullaby.
Yeah.
Which sounds like this. I'm going to play it just into the mic because I don't have it connected to my here.
To your roadcaster
So
down the studio.
This is Zelda's Lullaby.
Wait, I think it's cutting out.
That's okay. Okay, that's Zelda's Lullaby. And then oh man, I'm so funny.
And you run out of things to talk about when you're stalling.
Okay, and then this is the song from Skyward Sword. Wait, hold on, I'm struggling.
You can do it. You can do it.
I found one the other day that like illustrated it so well, but I clearly did not prepare this very well. This is the Skyward Sword theme backwards.
I can't hear it. I think
Okay.
that wireless go must be like keeping out anything that's not a voice.
That's so interesting. Okay, never mind then. Point is, the Skyward Sword main theme is Zelda's Lullaby backwards,
Huh.
which is so cool.
That is very cool.
Because it doesn't sound backwards at all. Like
No?
you hear the song over and over throughout the whole game,
Yeah.
and it just is its own theme song, and then you hear it reverse, and it's like a switch in your brain flicks, and it's just like, hang on, wait, hold on.
Wait, what was the last one called?
Just look up Skyward Sword theme backwards and look up Zelda's Lullaby. I found a video the other day that like nailed it. I'll see if I can find it again. Because my mind was just blown.
Yeah.
Basically. I thought it was so cool, and I'm really sad that I cannot find it now. But yeah, no, it's sick. It's like one of those things that you don't think about, and then you hear it, and your brain is just melting.
Yeah.
This is so annoying. I had it. It's a banging soundtrack though. It's so good. All of them are.
Wait.
Oh, here. Okay, I found it. I found the video. Let me see if this actually does.
I think I'm listening to it.
No, I found the right one. I'm gonna send it to you now. Right now, and I'm gonna link it in the description of this video.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm gonna try and play it through the thing.
Yeah. Maybe it's just a Zoom thing, but
Maybe. Okay, it definitely worked. I was watching the levels,
okay, cool.
so it's definitely a Zoom thing. Are you listening to it on your end?
Yeah.
All right. It blows my mind every single time.
Wait, what? It's the same thing. Hold on.
Yeah.
So it's the same backwards as it is forwards. Is that what you're saying?
No, the forwards is the theme, is the Skyward Sword theme, and the backwards is Zelda's Lullaby. From a completely different game.
That's insane.
That's some like insane composer.
What?
Just like, oh, I don't even
Well,
know how you make that work.
It's one. It's one of two things. It's either they like are just ridiculously clever and meant for that to happen, or it's like what every beat maker does, and they reverse a sample and it's like,
Oh no, they
sounds so
definitely
sick.
meant for that to happen because the rest of the orchestra is completely different. Like it's just the main melody of the Skyward Sword theme forwards is Zelda's Lullaby backwards, but the whole orchestra.
oh, and Zelda's Lullaby is like with an ocarina or something.
Yeah.
And it's super. Oh, I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
Right. Huh.
How cool is that?
That's insane.
Yeah. It blew my mind. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
Did
I
you
thought that was like, sorry?
did you figure that out or did you see it?
No, I saw it. No.
Right,
I
okay.
don't just go around putting some random songs in reverse.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I think it's so sick though. Like
That is.
What? Anyway, I think that's mental. Who comes up with that? Who goes, yeah, let's make the main theme for this song, this one backwards, and then just like let's work around that. Let's make our job like thousands of times harder, just for one cool little like Easter egg, basically.
Oh, you reckon that's harder? I reckon
Yeah.
that makes it easier. You just reverse it and then you'd be like, okay, let's use that tune. And then you've got your main melody line. You just work around that.
That's true, but they've completely changed the tone of the song.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I also feel like you don't want to make it like crazy obvious that it's the same song as well.
Mm.
So you'd want to change the vibe to a certain
Yeah.
extent, right? Like,
Yeah. I don't know.
don't know.
That's crazy.
I thought it was very cool.
I suppose that's
Yeah.
a really good way of keeping all like the Zelda tracks sounding the same without like every game sounds the same, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all have a similar sound because they are technically all the same sound.
Yeah. It's a cheeky way of your brain going, I know this, but your brain not telling you that you know it.
Yeah, it's
Like-
that subconscious like recognition.
And like, this makes me happy, even though I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that I learned about Twilight Princess that I didn't know. So, Twilight Princess is the first Zelda game I ever played as a kid.
Mhm.
And something that and I've since played most of the other ones. Most of them. Like
Yeah.
I haven't played like the early ones, like the 2D ones. I've played a couple of the like future 2D ones, like Link's Awakening and things like that, but not like the original. Anyway, I've played all of the 3D games. And one thing that I didn't know was that Twilight Princess originally was going to be a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then they ended up changing the story slightly, so now the Link in Twilight Princess is a direct descendant of the Link in Ocarina of Time. So it's still connected to a certain extent, but because that's some of the criticism that Twilight Princess got when it came out, was that it follows the same structure as Ocarina of Time, which is true, it does. Like, they both follow the structure of village, forest temple, lava temple, water temple, thinking you're done with the story, and then you get a big twist, and then you have another like 4, 5, 6 temples to go, and then you're
Whoa.
finished.
Right.
So it follows that same kind of narrative structure. So it got a lot of flack at the start when it came out, but then it's obviously, as time's gone on, grown into a modern classic, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
as they all do.
Yeah.
which is mental. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And then something that I learned as well was that it was originally going to have a sequel. There was going to be a Twilight Princess 2 in the same vein of... the way that they did it on the N64, they had Ocarina of Time and then they had Majora's Mask. And Majora's Mask is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. And the reason they did that was because they'd spent so much time creating all of these 3D assets for Ocarina of Time, because it was the first time they'd ever done this. They wanted to not waste that on this console, so they had a year to create an entirely new game with all the same assets, which is why that game is so weird and like trippy and wacky, because they basically like all the ideas that they had, they kind of just went bleh.
Right.
And they made an awesome game essentially purely because of time constraints.
Yeah.
Which is sick. And then so they were gonna do the same thing with Twilight Princess. They were gonna make another one. But one of the things that Miyamoto, who's like one of the main guys, his main thing is that he is gameplay first, story second. So his thing is always the game has to be fun, and then it has to have a story. And then his other thing is that he builds games around a gimmick every time. All of his games are around a gimmick. So like Skyward Sword was built around using the Wii as a one-to-one sword, essentially. His thing for Twilight Princess 2 was that he wanted to use the Wii Zapper, which was like the gun that you had.
Oh, yeah. I remember playing that game, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wanted to make a direct sequel that used the Wii Zapper, and he told the crew, like the company, that he wanted to make a direct sequel, and they're all stoked because they all loved this like super dark, real Twilight Princess world with all these like super realistic assets, but with these really weird characters. And so they all started getting stoked and making all this like super weird concept art and dumping all these ideas and like this like essentially just awesome potential. And then Miyamoto was like, no, you have to use the Wii Zapper. And basically just like crushed all their ideas. And then he was like, we're going to make a crossbow game.
Yeah,
So
that's what I remember playing.
They made Link's crossbow training.
That's right, yeah.
Which was essentially just a tech demo of the Wii Zapper.
Yeah. I have that game still.
I never got it. I was so disappointed.
Oh, it's so cool.
But apparently it's good. Yeah, apparently it's still really good. But yeah, and then even while making that, they got a bit crushed because they kept trying to put stuff into it that was too deep, and Miyamoto kept telling them to shove it.
Yeah, that is something I realized with that. It was literally just a tech demo, or it felt like a demo of the game or something.
Yeah, no, because it was built around. It was gonna be a direct sequel that used the same assets.
Yeah, right.
It would have been so sick. It would have been so sick.
Yeah, it would have been.
It's okay.
Sad.
It's fine. Since we're talking about Zelda anyway, and once I start, I can't stop.
I understand that. That's okay with me.
One thing that I'm really, really interested in is we've got Breath of the Wild 2 coming, which would be really cool. I really enjoyed Breath of the Wild 1, but one of my issues is that as much as I enjoy Breath of the Wild, I don't think that it's a Zelda game.
Oh.
I think it's a great game in its own right, and I think that it follows a lot of the same design philosophies, but for me, Zelda has always been very linear, dungeons, temples, storyline, whereas Breath of the Wild is complete open world, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm still super excited for Breath of the Wild 2. I really enjoyed Breath of the Wild, but I really, really hope that in the future they go back to the original style.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I agree.
Yeah. I really like that template a lot better, and I think with me a lot of other people.
I think it takes a little bit away from that like childhood nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and there's also another problem coming up now with the general Zelda fandom, is that a lot of people, this is fine, this isn't necessarily a problem, but a lot of people are coming into being interested in Zelda from Breath of the Wild, which is great. But then they go and play the other games, and it's not the same format.
Yeah.
So they get disappointed and they go back, and then you get all of these like polls from Nintendo and stuff where they ask what their favorite is, and it all comes out to be Breath of the Wild because it's the best-selling Zelda game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of creates this feedback loop.
Yeah. I guess it opens up the whole world of like, do we keep trying to keep appealing to the old audience, or do we like try and push it to a bigger or newer demographic? I reckon.
Yeah.
More modern.
But I think there is a way to do it very respectfully, like the same way that Super Mario Odyssey did it, where they changed the general formula but kept the core the same. Whereas I feel like Breath of the Wild has changed everything.
Yeah.
And kind of really only kept the characters and the general setting.
Right. Because I think games are moving now, or like players are moving now towards, they want more freedom in a game.
Yeah.
And games like the older Zeldas, like, you don't feel like you have as much.
Yeah.
There's a very set way. Well, there is a exact way you have to do it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas all these
yeah, sorry, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like all these free world, massive, like GTA 5, for example,
Yeah.
where you can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I guess I'm old-fashioned in that sense.
Yeah.
That I don't like that in video games.
Yeah.
I don't really like open world games. Like when I played Red Dead Redemption 2, I didn't really do any of the open world stuff. I literally went from mission to mission and treated it like a linear story.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I don't know, and I do the same thing in every game. I'm just not an open world person.
Yeah. I think that is like the older generation. Not saying that you're old,
Yeah.
but like the.
Yeah, but I did grow up on that generation of games.
Yeah.
Like,
Whereas
I grew up with the Zeldas and stuff. I didn't grow up on the open world stuff
Yeah.
until I was probably like in my early teens.
Mm. See, maybe that's why COD isn't doing as well anymore either.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's why they had to switch to like Warzone and stuff where it's all open world.
Yeah. And most of it's all like online multiplayer now. They're kind of moving away from campaigns.
Yeah. And I think that's why Horizon Zero Dawn didn't really click with me either. Because so much of the enjoyment in that game comes from the exploration of the open world.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I don't want to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to play a game where my exploration is rewarded but not expected.
Ah, I see.
Like in Zelda, the way that they do it is if you explore, you'll be rewarded by finding things like heart pieces and things like that grow your maximum health. But at no point in the game is it expected for you to go out and explore to find those things. You will never be disadvantaged by not exploring.
Yeah.
Whereas in Horizon Zero Dawn, that was my frustration, was I would get to a big boss fight and I would be directly disadvantaged because I hadn't explored and upgraded my stuff and whatever.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Now I'm thinking like, because I never finished Horizon either. And I've tried to go back to it a few times, but I haven't. I've never like clicked with it again to keep playing it.
Yeah.
But then I find myself wanting to go and play God of War over like Red Dead.
Yes.
So interesting.
And that's what I really liked about God of War as well. That had the exact same structure. You're rewarded for exploration, but not expected to explore.
Yeah. And it's very like, go this way. You know? Yeah. Which is kind of
exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah. But then there's still there's lots of like character development in it too.
Yeah.
There's still a big storyline, even though it's like, come this way. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and you get all that environmental storytelling as well.
And I think that's where like even Spider-Man did so well.
Yeah.
It's because you didn't need to do all the crime things around the city to complete the game.
And even then, I 100%ed that game afterwards because of that exact reason. I wasn't expected to explore, but I wanted to.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting to
Anyway.
see where like games are gonna go soon. And even
Yeah.
if they
I
start,
think- yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say, even if they start implementing like platformer style stuff in VR, because I feel like most of VR is open world, and maybe that's why it's not doing too well.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Interesting. I mean, I guess we'll see it. We'll see where it goes.
Mm.
You never know. All right, should we wrap it up?
Probably. What time are we at?
We're at 52 minutes.
Ah, yeah. I suppose we should then.
Sick. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to or watching this episode of The Froe Show. Happy lockdown if you're in Brisbane. Happy existence if you're somewhere else.
Wow.
It's
kinda
do you have
morbid.
anything else you want to finish on?
No. No, I
Okay,
don't.
cool.
Just hope we get out of lockdown soon so I can do something other than sit.
Sit and play God of War.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 And you gotta fade out.
I'm just fading.